Hello, everyone, and welcome to After Church Tea Time, where we are going to discuss our insights about Christie's sermon on how vulnerability is your strength to your union with God. And I am joined here with another unionist, Regine. And so we're here to share with you what we received. I really loved the sermon. One, just you can see in just the piece of Christy, like how peaceful she is to be vulnerable in this space. And it does require a lot of inner work to get to a place where you can share your vulnerability, share your strength, share your peace through this work and how you grow into that space. It's not something that a lot of us naturally are able to do, which is just be vulnerable and just share ourselves authentically. But I have found that through this work, it has allowed us to move into that space. And I think one of my favorite things that she shared was that it's important that you find your strength in God and partnering with God, and that it sometimes is a weakness to not partner with God and to try to do it by yourself, and ultimately trying to just depend on your own strength to be able to do the things that you're being called to do. But it takes a lot of vulnerability to go to God and be like, God, I feel weak here. I feel like this is something I can't do without you. I need your help. And you will find immediate peace when you do approach your upsets and any challenges that you might be having in your life when you move forward in that direction and in that way of looking to God to be your strength and your peace, and recognizing how vulnerable it is to look to God and say, I don't have all of the pieces. I don't have um, I don't have the next direction. I don't have the piece of just moving forward. I need you here.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. And what I think it's a really nice topic to kind of question what we've been taught is true. And I really like that this vulnerability, the topic of vulnerability, touched the idea of being strong or being weak. And that the truth is actually uh, reversing the things we've been taught is weakness and strength. And I really have experienced myself because, as Christy shares in her sermon, that sometimes you're a really emotional person, and I am a really emotional person. I have lots of feelings. So in life, I've been experiencing a situation where I uh, show myself and show my vulnerability because that's all I could do in the moment. And I really experienced that showing my vulnerability was expressing myself, and expressing myself in the moment was ultimately gaining strength and being stronger and being more confident in myself and more at ease with myself because by showing that part of myself, I was loving that part and accepting that part. So I felt at the moment when I couldn't do anything that sharing myself, I realized that it was being proud and just being my true authentic self to the world. So I really experienced that, and now I see the spiritual meaning of that. That vulnerability is just feeling your feelings, and that sometimes you feel weak and vulnerable, and sometimes you feel strong, and it's not who you are. I really like that she's saying that as well, that we're not our feelings. And that's something I really learned with the teachings of union. It's that feelings pass. And
Mhm.
it's also really important to embody that, to show your vulnerability to the world, to show them that you can be sad one day and then really joyful the other day, and that your divine self is somebody beneath all that just your feeling is just the expression of yourself in the moment, in the day. and we don't have to identify to the joyful feeling or to the sad feeling, because I use also to identify myself very much with the joy that I was expressing, and I really felt that I was that joy also, and that every day of my life I needed to show that joy to the world so that they can recognize me. But
Mm.
no, it's just a feeling, and our true self, it's a stronger foundation than just the feeling we feel during the day. And yeah, I really learned that it is safe also, and sometimes it is not that safe to express your feelings, but it's just because it's not the environment for you. Maybe it's
Mhm.
not a good relationship for you. So if you don't feel safe, I learned that if you don't feel safe to express your feelings, maybe you just have to walk away from that environment or that relationship. So it's also an indication of what's aligned with you and what's true and what's good for you. So yeah, that's uh,
I love that. Yeah, she spoke on the one student who like wanted to be vulnerable and express their authentic self, express how they were feeling, and that Jeff and Shaleia invited them to just feel the feeling and allow themselves to just sit with it. And I was actually experiencing that this morning where I was having an upset with my twin flame, and it was more of like he didn't do anything to upset me. He was just expressing his authentic self, and he was sharing something with me, and it brought up this really uncomfortable feeling that I would normally like just like speak on right away. And I find that when I would do that, it would be a lot of like just projections and a lot of fears and upsets coming up. And so I kind of just had to like sit back and just sit with it and allow it to just come up and move through it and allow it to just dissipate. But during that time, I just had to love myself because I couldn't get clear on like, why am I upset? Why do I feel this way? And I love that she shared that like you don't have to mirror it, you just got to sit with it, and you just have to allow the feeling to come up. And that can sometimes be very uncomfortable, and that can feel very vulnerable in itself as well too. And she spoke on being very aware of not numbing out and just being like, well, it's nothing, I'm not going to look at it, or I'm not technically upset, it just feels like bad, so I'm just going to let it go. But it's no, it's being present with yourself as you allow the feeling to come up. And sometimes you have insights come up, and sometimes you have an understanding of like, oh, there is a much deeper upset here that has nothing to do with what that person said or did. But the feeling is pointing at this part of me that does need love and attention, and maybe something does come up that does require you to do the mirror exercise. But I do find that for a long time I felt like, man, I'm failing somewhere here, like I'm not seeing the truth, or I feel like if I don't get this right, then I'm gonna mess up my union. But that was something that through this work, it's like, no, you can't mess it up. Then you got to trust that everything's going to come up when it needs to. And if it feels super uncomfortable, that's when you can just call upon God to like hold that space with you, and just sit with God in that space. And you'll tend to find that it just naturally evolves into just this peace and this love. And that it takes a lot of courage to just feel the bad feeling. That's something that tends to have to evolve. Most people feel very weak when they have to feel the bad feeling, so they avoid it and they push it down, and then it comes up full force in another way. And so it does require a lot of courage to sit with the uncomfortable feeling. It does take a lot of courage to have to be present with yourself and ask yourself, like, why am I feeling this? Or what do I need in order to just feel at peace here? And sometimes just choosing your peace really is like the ultimate thing, is just I choose my peace here. I choose to feel good in this space. And it does take strength to stand in that vulnerability and that courage to move through it. So as you go deeper in this work, you'll find that it does become easier. You do have bigger upsets that do start to evolve as you go deeper in the work. But I remember Jeff saying like that's God's way of showing you that he trusts that you're going to move through it when he gives you those bigger upsets. And I do also recognize that it does give me the opportunity to open my heart to more love. I did definitely resonate with the story that she shared about Shaleia, and how Shaleia cried a lot in classes. And I remember when I came into this work and I was watching these classes, it used to trigger me so badly that Shaleia was always crying because I was not a crier. I did not cry, I did not show emotion. And because I finally recognized, well, I don't feel safe showing emotion. I don't feel safe showing other people how I actually feel. I felt like I needed to wear this mask and have like this hard armor on, because if I did, or if I didn't, they would hurt me. And so I really resonated with both stories that Christy shared about, like, you don't have to allow people to hurt you. And by sharing yourself doesn't mean they're going to hurt you. But as I allowed myself to allow more love in and to really truly feel my feelings, I definitely am now a crier. I cry about almost not everything, but it's like I do allow the feeling to come up. I do allow the tears to come through. And then I'm able to like wipe them away and be like, oh, I feel better now. I feel like I was able to release in that moment, and I didn't have to hold it on and like press it down. So I found that being able to show that emotion is very healthy, because most people feel like, no, I have to hide how I feel, or it's going to be used against me, or I'm going to be hurt here, or someone's not going to receive me. But the more that I've just recognized that, like, that's just how I am. Like, when I cry, it's because I'm moving through a big emotion, or I'm crying because I'm so happy and I feel so much joy, and it's just the natural thing that comes up. But it does require a lot of courage to just allow yourself to authentically show up that way.
Yeah. Um, yeah, it's true, and it's nice that she's talking and that your reminds the moment when she speaks about Shaleia crying in class, because something that impacted me a lot was that class, but also in different instances, we have seen Jeff crying, and that was the most impactant for me, because he is a Shalia is also, but he's a man also, and we are used to see that authority figure, masculine authority figure, not showing emotions, or if they show emotion, it's either joy or mostly anger.
Mm.
And it's really interesting that you say that it's really healthy to show and to feel emotions, because showing emotion is just the consequence of feeling, because you can't hide when you feel, you just express. It's very um like, I don't know the word, but impacting, I don't know if it's the word, but for me, because I work as a school teacher, so I work with teenagers, and I have them from the end of the childhood until they're young adults, so from 11 to 18. So I have the whole range of teenager, from preteen to young adults. And it's really interesting to see them evolving, and to see them at the end of the childhood, where they're still expressing a wide range of emotions, especially boys. And
Mhm.
then they slowly hide their emotions, because they identify themselves to a certain model of being a boy and being a man. And that's why I was so impacted by Jeff showing his emotion, because you see his emotion, but he is not less a leader by
Mhm.
showing. He doesn't lose any of his strength and authority and leadership by showing his emotion. And on the contrary, you what I felt is I trusted him more, because
Yeah.
he felt safe, and he
Yep.
felt enough strong to express his feeling, and then just express them, go through them, and then be himself again. He was himself the whole way, but the self we are used to see. And yeah, I really liked that. And I think it's really important to embody that vulnerability, and to show that to the world as a role model, because everybody, girls and boys especially, but I really feel that when you don't feel your feelings truly, you just build your personality around the wounds and the feelings. You don't allow yourself um, to feel. And that's what, to me, makes you really weak at the end, because you have these hidden places you try to hide. You don't want people to see and to touch. So you kind of going in life like trying to avoid situation, not to
Yep.
feel that feeling again. So that, at the core, that really makes you weak. It's not feeling your feelings. And
Mhm.
so it's totally the contrary what we've been taught. And I really like those teachings for that, because it's the teachings for that, because it helps you going to the truth of what makes you healthy,
Mhm.
strong, and also a good role model for future generation and for all. Mm.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was just reading an article because I have two boys myself, and they were talking about how boys can be are genuinely much more sensitive than girls are at a very young age, and that they need a lot of nurturing and a lot of permission and just yeah, encouragement to be able to feel their feelings and to be able to move through the hard feelings and the emotions, because it allows them to grow up to be very emotionally stable men who can hold space for the people in their life, because they were taught how to hold space for themselves, and someone was also willing to hold space for them. And we live in a world where men are told like it's not safe to feel your feelings, it's not safe to express your feelings or to show emotion, that you have to wear this mask, that you have to be really hard in order to be strong, in order to have this strength. But really, like, God made them very emotional creatures at times too. Like, they have emotions, they have really strong emotions, and if they can't find ways to express that or move through that, they just continuously compound upset on upset. And then you get like the angry man, and the man who becomes very destructive because he doesn't have the space to really be able to feel all of the things that he's feeling. And that can lead to men feeling very weak. And when they do feel weak, that is when we have a lot of things unfold after that, that just we do not desire for our men. And so having that strength of being able to lean on God and to be able to go into that space, that's what I really love about this work, is that a lot of this work, a lot of the people who are in this community are mostly women, not just all women, but we're seeing over the last few years more masculines come into this work. And I remember going to the SLS last year, and I was just like, there's so many divine masculines here. Like, I was so excited because I'd been to all of the previous ones where I was just like, it's mostly women here. But no, we finally got to a place where it's like, we're coming on to like 50-50 of like seeing these masculines come in and really allowing themselves to be a pillar of strength by learning I have to feel my feelings. I have to move through these uncomfortable feelings. I have to learn how to love myself here. I have to learn to go to God. And that's actually my strength. That's where I'm finding like incredible strength, is by leaning on God and going to Him about all the things that I'm moving through or that I need. And one of the things I do love that Christy shared was like, not going to God just for his treasures or his gifts, but because you genuinely want to build a relationship with God. And when it is genuine, like, God knows your heart, God knows you better than you know yourself. And when you're doing it from a genuine place of like, I just want to know you, God, and I just want to be closer to you, and I want you to be my ultimate lover, that is when the beautiful treasures do come and move through your life. But it is about your relationship with God first. And that's why we always share with people like, you do this work not to get the gift, not to get your twin flame, but you do it to feel better within. You do it to feel closer to God. You do it to allow yourself to be your most authentic and truest version of yourself. And you see the gifts and the fruits of those who truly do that within their union with God, where they're truly pursuing God, you see the ultimate gifts and fruits that come from that. And then we have people who are like, I feel like I'm always doing the mirror exercise and nothing's happening. And it's like you have to do like a heart posture. You have to check your heart and ask, am I truly doing this to feel better and to feel closer to God? Or am I doing it because I want the one thing and I'm mad and resentful at God because I haven't received it yet? And that is what I love about this work, is that you can't hide. You can't fake it. You can't try to force your way through, or force your way into your union, or force your way into having the things that you truly desire without actually doing the work. And that requires a lot of vulnerability too, of asking yourself. I've had to ask myself a few times, like, am I truly doing this because I want to just love and be loved by God? Or is there an underlining thing of like, I want the thing, God, so I'm just going to show up and do the mirror exercise? And it's not going to work. You have to be vulnerable with yourself in that space and honest with yourself in order to build trust with yourself and build trust with God. You got to do this work from a place of just true authenticity and genuinely wanting love and peace in those places. And you'll find that it does make you feel strong. It makes you feel like you can do anything. It makes you feel like no matter what the upset is, no matter what the block is, I can move through it with God. I can move through that uncomfortable feeling because I don't have to identify with it. It's not who I am. It's just part of what I'm moving through. And I really love that this work has helped me understand, like, I am not my feelings. That's not my identity. I don't have to attach to feelings. I don't have to identify with them. They're just coming up to be released. And then my true identity is that I'm a divine child of God. And that means that there's a lot of strength in that, that if you can root your identity in being a divine child of God, you'll recognize that you can do and move through absolutely anything that comes up. Even in the midst of the hardest struggles, like those are things that are really molding you into your strongest self and molding you into being able to just see like how much power you have, like how powerful you are. And that's the beauty of this work too, is that it really calls you to claim all of your power back and to release things like victimhood or moving through your life through fear. Those are things that most people move through life, is thinking like the life is happening to me, not happening for me or through me. They feel like life is just a thing that happens and they have no control over it. But in truth, your strength is that you co create your reality with God.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree. And I really feel that vulnerability and accepting your feelings makes you more confident in on your journey, because you know that you go with God, and if you feel some feelings, you just go to God and you process them and you heal. And from my experience, I really get confidence in life and what could happen, because before I was just living my life in fear of
Mhm.
what could happen, and me not being able to face them because I was feeling so much. But now the feelings are just something that I can process, and they also we learn with this work that your feelings are the pathway towards more union, towards healing. So you just have to follow the feelings, so that you, even though the feeling is uncomfortable, because at the end you feel more love, you feel more peace once you process them. So for me, what this work brought me is that confidence in life. And then I can go in life and face whatever God is presenting me, because I have this ability to not only feel, but to heal and to process. Because that's why also people don't show vulnerability. They think that they must be stuck in those feelings. For example, people are really afraid of feeling sad, because they think that if they feel that sadness, they will be stuck and they will be depressed. And that will become their identity. I don't want to be a depressed person. But no, with this work, you just know that it's just your feeling. It's pointed out to something that you just need to see, and
Yeah.
it's God talking to you through your feelings and
Yeah.
just indicating the right direction for you. So yeah,
Mhm.
it's really, I really feel more safe in my life and confident in going with life.
I resonate with that too. Absolutely. Beautiful. Well, I'm feeling at peace here. How are you feeling? Do you feel complete?
Yeah, yeah,
Good.
totally good.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us for After Church Tea Time. If you are joining us here live, thank you so much for being here. If you're joining us on YouTube, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And if you would like to help us further this message to those of the world, please definitely consider tithing at unionism.org. We will see you guys next week at the same time. And thank you so much for joining us. Thank you. Take care.
Bye.